You have been sold a lie. A very expensive, very exhausting lie. Don't believe me? Well, tell me this. Do any of these sound familiar? Hashtag hustle and grind. Outwork everyone. Sleep when you're dead, bro. Now let me say it again. We all have been sold a lie. The lie says the answer to your anxiety is to do more. More emails, more content, more grinding, less sleep. Eventually, you'll arrive. But you don't arrive. You just get tired. Modern hustle culture isn't about productivity. It's about fear. The fear that you're not enough. And a recent study found that 76% of high performers report chronic burnout, not occasional stress. Chronic. The system isn't working. Seneca looked at the frantic Romans 2,000 years ago and called them breathless. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Marcus Aurelius ran an empire and wrote, "Do less, better," or more accurately, do what's essential. Today, we're trading the anxiety of the hustle for the power of the Stoic. In the next 20 minutes, I will reveal to you the 5 rules that will end the grind and let you start living. Be sure to stick with me through the full video because I will be dropping some special tips that basically nobody talks about. Last note that you should know before we dive in. We feel so strongly about this topic and how hustle culture is poisoning our minds that right after this video, we will be posting a more in-depth, full hour-long version for those of you who want go-go next level. All right, enough is enough. Let's get to it. Rule 1. Focus on effort, not outcomes. Stop obsessing over outcomes. Start obsessing over effort, the thing you actually control. Hustle culture trains you to check the scoreboard every 5 minutes, post content, refresh the view count, launch a product, refresh sales. You're not working, you're waiting for validation. And every time the number isn't what you wanted, you spiral. Epictetus taught the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, some aren't. What's up to you? Your effort, your integrity, your choices. What's not? Whether people buy, whether the algorithm favors you, whether timing is right. When you tie your self-worth to outcomes you can't control, you sign a contract for permanent anxiety. Here's what this looks like. You build something for months. It flops. So you tell yourself you failed, you wasted time, you're not good enough. And you either quit or grind harder because you think the problem is you didn't do enough. But the Stoic asks, did I do the work well? Did I show up with integrity? If yes, you succeeded. The outcome is irrelevant. This is prohairesis, moral choice, the one thing completely within your control, not the result, the choice to act with virtue. The hustler is fragile. One bad quarter shatters him. The Stoic is anti-fragile. He gets stronger with chaos. Because his identity is wrapped in effort, not outcomes. Concrete example, you're creating content. Hustle culture says views determine your worth. The Stoic says, did I make something I'm proud of? Did I say something true? If yes, you won. The algorithm can do whatever it wants. Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You control your choices, not the world's response. The moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, anxiety dies. Every morning ask, what's within my control today? Your effort, your attitude, your integrity, that's it. Everything else, sales, views, responses, is not on the list. Do your part, then let go. Here's the paradox. The less you care about outcomes, the better your outcomes become. Not because you stopped trying, but because you stopped needing. And when you stop needing, you stop making desperate decisions. Rule 2. Quality over quantity, and Memento Mori. Value quality over quantity, because you are dying, and time is the one resource you can never get back. Hustle culture treats time like it's infinite. I'll rest when I make $1 million. I'll see my kids when this project is done. You live like you have forever. Seneca screams at us, you live as if you were destined to live forever. You treat your time as abundant, when in fact it is running out. Memento Mori. Remember you will die, not morbid, clarifying. The moment you accept your time is finite, you stop wasting it. You stop saying yes to meetings that don't matter. You stop scrolling for 3 hours. You stop doing busy work that accomplishes nothing. Here's the question. If this were my last year, would I spend it doing this? Not your last day. That's too extreme. Your last year. If the answer is no, then why are you doing it now? You have roughly 4,000 weeks to live. If you're 30, you've used 1,560. If you're 40, you've used 2,080. And you're spending those irreplaceable weeks refreshing email, arguing in comments, attending pointless meetings. Seneca. People are frugal in guarding their property, but wasteful with time, the one thing in which it's right to be stingy. You wouldn't let someone steal $100, but you'll let them steal an hour, and then wonder why life feels like it's slipping away. Here's what this looks like. You work 70 hours a week, but 40 of those hours are low value. Emails that didn't need sending, meetings that didn't need happening. You're not productive, you're busy, and busy is the enemy of meaningful. The Stoic doesn't do more things, he does better things, fewer things, essential things, and he does them with full attention. Marcus Aurelius. Do less, better. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? That's the filter. Every task, every meeting, every scroll, is this necessary? If it's noise, cut it, because you're dying. And every hour on noise is an hour stolen from meaning. Stop measuring success by how much you do. Measure it by how much you eliminate. The hustler has 47 things on his list. The Stoic has 3, the only 3 that matter. 1 deep conversation beats 50 shallow ones. 1 focused hour beats 5 distracted ones. 1 meaningful project beats 10 mediocre ones. Here's why you're exhausted. You're not working hard. You're working on too many things that don't matter. Your energy is depleted by fragmentation, by context switching, by pseudo-productivity, checking boxes without moving the needle. Self-check. In the last week, how many hours did you spend on things that genuinely matter? And how many did you waste on noise? Be honest, if you only had 52 weeks left, would you spend them the same way? Rule 3. Visualize the worst case. Stop pretending everything will work out. Start preparing for the worst. Because the worst case isn't as bad as you think, and facing it kills the fear. Hustle culture runs on toxic positivity. Good vibes only. Manifest your dreams. It's surface-level optimism covering up terror. The terror that maybe it won't work. So you don't think about it. You push it down. You work harder to outrun it. But the fear doesn't go away. It grows because the thing you won't face owns you. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. You sit down and look directly at the worst-case scenario. What if I lose the client? What if the business fails? What if I go broke? And here's what you realize. You would survive. You wouldn't die. You'd figure it out. The worst case is uncomfortable, but it's not the end. And the moment you accept that, fear loses its power. Anxiety isn't caused by the thing you're afraid of. It's caused by avoiding it. You don't want to think about failure, so you run. You grind more. You distract yourself. But the fear is still there, driving everything. The Stoic walks toward fear. He asks, what's the worst that happens? Then prepares for it, not obsessively, just calmly, like packing a raincoat before a storm. Here's the example. You're launching something. Hustle culture says, think positive, it's going to crush. So you don't prepare for failure. And when it flops, you're devastated. You spiral. The Stoic, before launch, asks, what if this fails? Maybe I lose money. Maybe I look foolish. Maybe I start over. Okay, and then what? I'd figure it out. I'd learn. I'd try again. Now he's free. He's not afraid anymore. He's prepared. So when he launches, he's not desperate. He's just executing. If it works, great. If not, he knows what he'll do next. That's the difference. The hustler is controlled by fear of failure. The Stoic has already accepted failure as possible, so he works calmly. Seneca practiced this daily. Every morning he'd visualize losing everything: wealth, status, freedom, not to be miserable, to be prepared, so if it happened, he wouldn't be destroyed. The more you prepare for the worst, the less it destroys you when it happens, because you've already processed it. When it arrives, it's not a shock. It's just another thing to handle. Self-check. What are you afraid of right now? Write it down. I'm afraid the launch will fail. Now ask, what happens if that happens? Walk through it. Then ask, would I survive? The answer is yes. And the moment you realize that, fear shrinks. Pause. Think about what you did today. List 3 things. Now ask, were those things important or just urgent? Hustle culture confuses urgency with importance. Everything feels urgent. Emails, notifications, fires. So you spend your day reacting, and at the end, you're exhausted but didn't build anything. Important things are rarely urgent. Building a skill, creating something meaningful. These don't scream at you, so they get ignored. Dwight Eisenhower used a matrix: urgent and important. Urgent, but not important. Most people spend 80% on urgent, but unimportant. The Stoic inverts this. He spends 80% on important, but not urgent, and lets the urgent, unimportant things die. Look at your 3 things. Were they important or just loud? If just loud, today was stolen. Not by someone else, by you. That stops now. Rule 4. Love the outcome. Stop fighting reality. Start loving it. Every ounce of energy spent wishing things were different is energy not spent making things better. Hustle culture is constant war against what is. You didn't hit the goal. You beat yourself up. The launch flopped. You spiral. Someone said no. You take it personally. You're battling circumstances, trying to force reality to match expectations. The Stoic practices Amor, Fati, love of fate, not just accepting what happens, loving it, using it, seeing it as exactly what was supposed to happen because it did. This isn't passivity. This is ultimate power. When you stop resisting reality, you stop wasting energy on what you can't change. all that frustration gets redirected into what do I do now? Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle isn't blocking your path. The obstacle is the path. You lose a client. Hustle culture says, disaster, I failed. The Stoic says, good, this frees up time for a better client, or to refine my offer. This happened for a reason. You get rejected. Hustle culture says, I wasn't good enough. The Stoic says, good, that wasn't the right fit. Now I have space for what is. See the difference? The hustler fights a war he can't win. The Stoic uses what happens. Every obstacle contains hidden advantage if you stop complaining long enough to see it. Nietzsche. My formula for greatness is Amor, Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not merely bear what is necessary, but love it. Love it, because it's real. And reality is the only material you have to work with. Every time something goes wrong, ask, what's this teaching me? Or, what opportunity is hidden here? There's always something, always a lesson, always a way forward. Practical application. Next time something goes wrong, pause, don't spiral. Ask, how do I use this? Find one way the obstacle is useful. Write it down. When you practice this, you stop fearing failure, because failure is just information. You stop fearing obstacles, because obstacles are puzzles, and puzzles make you stronger. Seneca. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. The trials are the process. The friction is the tool. Stop wishing life were easier. Start using the difficulty. Rule 5. Rest is a weapon. You are allowed to stop. In fact, you must stop, because rest isn't a reward for productivity. Rest is a requirement for it. Here's the hardest truth. You cannot grind 18 hours a day indefinitely and maintain clarity or effectiveness. You're not a machine, you're human, and humans require rest, not as luxury, but as biological necessity. Hustle culture says, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Rest is for the weak, so you push through exhaustion. You ignore your body. You wear burnout like a badge, and you tell yourself rest is something you'll do later, when you've made it. But later never comes. The finish line keeps moving, so you never stop. You grind yourself into dust and wonder why you feel empty. The Stoics understood this. Seneca took cold plunges daily for mental clarity. Marcus Aurelius retreated to his journals regularly to think, process, recalibrate. These weren't men with easy lives, but they understood. The mind is like a bow. If you keep it strung tight forever, it will snap. Rest is maintenance. It's how you sharpen the blade. Without rest, you're not working at full capacity. You're working from depletion, and depleted work is shallow and ineffective. You grind for months. You're exhausted, but you tell yourself you can't stop, so you keep pushing. Your work gets worse. You make mistakes. You're irritable, unfocused, but you keep going. The Stoic stops. Not because he's lazy, because continuing is counterproductive. He takes a day, a weekend. He rests, truly rests, not scrolling, not half-working. He disconnects, walks, reads, thinks, and when he returns, he's sharp. He does in 2 focused hours what would have taken 8 exhausted hours. This is the paradox. Rest makes you more productive, not less. Because productivity isn't hours logged, it's output per effort. When you're depleted, output drops. But people confuse rest with distraction. Scrolling TikTok isn't rest. Watching Netflix half-focused isn't rest. These are avoidance. They don't restore you. True rest is intentional. It's silence, walking without your phone, reading something meaningful, sitting with your thoughts. And yes, it's uncomfortable, because you're so used to constant stimulation that silence feels wrong. But that discomfort is proof you need it. Marcus Aurelius. People seek retreats in the country, by the sea, in the mountains, but you can, at any moment, find such a retreat in your own soul. You don't need Bali. You need to stop, to sit, to breathe, 20 minutes without guilt. Because that stillness is where clarity lives. You're stuck on a problem. You've been grinding for hours. Hustle culture says, keep grinding. The Stoic walks away, takes a nap, goes for a walk, and while resting, his subconscious works. The solution appears, not while grinding, but while still. Cal Newport explains the brain needs downtime to process. Best ideas don't come from forcing, they come from giving the mind space. Stop treating rest as something you earn. Treat it as something you require. Schedule it, protect it, and when you rest, rest fully. No phone, no work thoughts, no guilt. Self-check. When was the last time you actually rested? Not scrolled, actually rested, sat in silence, walked without destination, gave yourself permission to do nothing. If you can't remember, you're running on fumes. Seneca. The mind must be given relaxation. It will rise improved and sharper after a good break. Rest is not the enemy of productivity. Rest is the foundation of it. And the moment you accept this, you stop grinding into exhaustion and start working like a Stoic, with intensity, focus, and rest. Here's what this looks like when you live it. You wake up. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. Remind yourself what you control. Identify the one thing that matters today, not 10. 1. You work, deep work. 1 task, full focus, no phone. 2 hours of deep work beats 8 hours of shallow work. Something goes wrong. You pause, ask, how do I use this? Find the lesson, pivot calmly. You finish, you stop, you did the work, you controlled what you could. Now rest, fully, without guilt. You go to bed, reflect. What did I control today? What did I learn? Then sleep deeply, knowing you did your part. That's the Stoic life. It's not easier, it's harder, because it requires real discipline, saying no, eliminating, facing fear, loving unwanted outcomes, resting when instinct says grind. But it gives you clarity, peace, effectiveness, freedom. You stop running the rat race. You start building something real. For the next 24 hours, apply Rule 1. Focus on effort, not outcomes. For 24 hours, don't check the scoreboard. Don't refresh analytics. Don't check views, likes, sales. Don't ask, is this working? Just do the work. Show up with full effort, then walk away. At the end of 24 hours, ask, did I control what I could control? If yes, you succeeded. The outcome doesn't matter. And here's what will happen. You'll notice how much energy you've wasted on things you can't control. You'll notice anxiety drops. You'll notice the work becomes easier when you're not constantly evaluating. If you can do this for 24 hours, you can do it for a week. If for a week, you can make it a lifestyle. And once you do, you'll never go back, because you'll have tasted something better. The hustle is a treadmill. You run forever and never arrive. The Stoic path is a mountain, harder to climb. But when you reach the top, You actually see something. You've just confronted the lie you've been living. You've questioned the system, and you've considered that maybe there's a better way. There is. You don't need to outwork everyone. You don't need to sacrifice everything. You need to focus on what you control. Eliminate what doesn't matter. Prepare for the worst. Love what happens, and rest like it's part of the work, because it is. The Stoics built empires without burning out, because they understood power comes from clarity, not chaos, effectiveness from focus, not frenzy, success from doing less, better. Marcus Aurelius ran Rome and still wrote every night. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in the empire and still took time to think. Epictetus was a slave who became a great teacher, and he built his philosophy on one principle: control what you can. Let go of what you can't. That's the path. That's the standard. So stop running. Stop grinding. Stop chasing the horizon that moves. Start building. Start focusing. Start living like someone who knows they're going to die and refuses to waste the time they have left. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you're ready to go deeper, I am creating an hour-long deep dive video on this same topic, covering the same 5 concepts, but in more detail so that you can fully understand and integrate them into your life. Because philosophy without application is just theory. So hit subscribe so you get notified when that video comes out. And remember to hit like and drop a comment. I will personally read every single one. For now, make the list. Do the work. Love the fate. Rest when needed. And watch how quickly anxiety dies and clarity returns. And as always, stay stoic, my friend.